Welcome to the show.
Thank you, our guy.
Marcellus,
I just said thank you. I said thank you.
You said our guy too, and I'm gonna figure that out later.
Well, hey, we're gonna bring Marcellus in later in the show, but you repping a Nigerian shirt. I'm Nigerian, so we're gonna start there. Naija no de carry last. What does that mean to you?
It means the world to me because growing up, I used to always hear that phrase, hear that saying all the time. And I never really knew what it meant until I got to the point where I was able to compete. Because it means at the end of the day, and it ties into so many things now. It means at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what's going on. It doesn't matter how much obstacles, how much pressure, or how many things are weighing us down. At the end of the day, we ain't gonna be last. We still gonna struggle. We gonna fight for everything that we got, and we're never coming last place. And so that means the world to me when I get to say that, because now I'm in the position to where I'm a symbol of hope for my people.
Marcellus, in layman's terms, always said, Naija no de carry last. It's really just Nigerians, we're not going to finish in last place. But I got to stay on that, Sel, before I tag you in.
Oh, yeah.
My first email address, champ, was Nigerian Nightmare at yahoo.com. See, every Nigerian that is good at something tries to claim the Nigerian Nightmare title, but you actually hold the throne. Christian Okoye, he set the standard. Chiefs running back, you borrowed it from him. How do you feel having that nickname, the Nigerian Nightmare?
I feel amazing. It was one of those things, one of those nicknames that you grow up, you hear, because every athlete that was at the tip top, at basically the elite athlete of Nigerian descent in their field, they wanted to claim that name because that name meant something to us. And growing up, I heard that name a few times and I said, man, I would love to do something one day to where I could bear that name. And as life has it, it just so happens that it comes full circle. And now I'm in a position to where I can really uphold that nickname and basically carry it on to the next generation. Of course, I grew up hearing about it with guys like Christian Okoye, Samuel Peters, a WBC heavyweight boxing champion of the world at one point. And now I am just the next in line to basically be able to do justice to that name.
Much respect, man. Just a little FYI to y'all, my 23andMe came back and got a lot of Nigerian in me as well. But look
We claim you. We claim you.
Yeah, Uge. Would you say it before? Ugawa? What? Oh, okay, I'm lost.
Oh, God.
Oh, God. I got it. Oh, God. I told you, it's been a while.
That's a meme right there. That's a meme.
Take me back. I got to go connect with my people. But I've been watching the UFC for a minute, and I am a huge fan of you, huge fan of the UFC. And one thing I've noticed is the African-born fighters hold the heavyweight, middleweight, and welterweight titles in the UFC. How much pride do you feel in that?
Tremendous amount of pride, because it's very rare nowadays to be the first of something, because, you know, as history repeats itself each and every time. And so to be the first to actually be able to do something and be a part of the first illustrious group to come through the UFC and have all champions, all from West Africa, it's a tremendous amount of pride that it gives me, because when I was growing up, I never really got to see that example to say, I can do that one day. That's something that I aspire to do. So to be living it right now and to be that example for future generations to come, it means a tremendous amount to me. And I completely understand the responsibility that I have, and I don't take it for granted.
You didn't even start watching UFC, if I'm not mistaken, until 2005. What is your advice to someone who wants to be great at something, even if they don't start until later in life?
There's as cliche as it sounds, there's no such thing as impossible. Impossible is just a word that is placed on something until you make it possible. And that's kind of how it was. I never dreamt that I would be on this platform, I would be on this stage, that I would be able to go in there and do what I do. I still don't think I can do what I do. I still don't. I'm still afraid to go in there and compete each and every time that I step in there. But I know that I trust myself. I trust my training. And so by the time I step into that octagon, that's my domain. I'm the king of that octagon. And I wear it, and I definitely take full responsibility and full awareness of that.
Now, athletes have to be humble, but at the same time, they have to be cocky. So you take me back to the moment you realized you were the baddest man on the planet.
To be honest with you, I still don't realize it. I still don't know it. And I think that's what keeps me who I am. That's what keeps me excelling. Because there's a certain point that you get to where you start to basically, I'm the best. So when you wake up in the morning and you feel a little extra sore, it's easier to say, well, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna just chill today. I'm gonna chill today because I'm already the best. Like, I'm gonna chill, I'm gonna take today off. No, I still look at it as I am a contender. I am that number one contender each and every time. And I have the opportunity to go out there and become champion. And I'm just grateful to be in this position and time to be able to showcase my skills and all the hard work that I put into this.
You just took us into like the mindset to prepare. And as we all know, being athletes, preparation is the separation. So in our sport of football, we can go out there in full pads and we say it's full speed, but it's still practice. How close do you get to, in practice, the violence that you see actually when we're witnessing you in the octagon?
Pretty close. Pretty close. I would say about 80% because what we do in there, there's nothing that replicates that. Nothing. So when you're at full speed, it's very dangerous because anything can happen at any moment. So it's almost tough to be able to replicate that. But when we're sparring, the gloves aren't the same size as you see us actually compete with, because if you're doing that, then you're doing a lot of damage that's unnecessary before you actually get to go in there and compete. And in most cases, something's hurt. You're dealing with something before you actually get to go in there. I don't think I've ever been in a fight to where I didn't have something that was bothering me or something that was wrong. But it's all a matter of preparation and persevering through, because by the time I make it in there, nothing's going to stop me from showing the world all the hard work that I've put into this.
Oh, I'm hyped. I'm hyped. I'm not going to fight nobody because I went to private school, but I'm hyped right now.
I am so hyped, too. Okay, we know you haven't been defeated. But what's been the closest to a defeating moment, whether it was a physical pain, mentally you were like, I'm just not in sync? What was that moment that you had to overcome to still be the great you are?
I think in 2015, when I first made my UFC debut, I had a knee surgery in, I believe it was ending of March. And I had a microfracture on my right knee, which is not a surgery that you want to do nowadays. Doctors, I don't think really do that as much anymore because it's such a big and traumatic injury. But I had that, and I think they say it's about an 8-month recovery process. But I had to compete for my team July 15th of that year. I think July 15th. And being able to not have, I basically was on one leg. I had to prepare, and I prepared for that fight, and I went out there and I won the fight for my team. Now, later that year, I wanted to fight again. And so now I started to see all of basically the wear and tear from not giving the appropriate time for recovery. I started to see it and I felt it. And there was a few times where I was walking into the house from the car from training, and I couldn't walk into the house. I could barely walk. And I remember one day I just sat outside on the grass. And as hard as it is to say this, but I cried because I felt that my career hasn't even started yet and it's over because I can't even walk. How am I ever going to get to that point of being champion one day? And then you get inside and you eat some food and you feel a little better about yourself and you go back the next day and you get to work.
Some goat meat, some pounded yams.
Yes, jollof rice, all of them.
Let me ask you this. Have you ever been scared in the ring, and when?
Yes, I've always been, I'm always scared. Always scared. Before every fight, I'm always scared. But just a little piece of, I guess, advice that I can give is you have to hone the fear. You have to control the fear, because if you let the fear control you, you're out of your mind. You're out of your element. So everything that you did in preparation for that competition is lost. And so to be able to just hone all of that fear, when I step into that octagon, be able to use it, I surprise myself each and every time when I'm done. I'm like, man, I really did that. That was me. I did that. I did that.
Let me ask you this, because I don't care about the sports show right now. You preaching to me. So I don't know if you're preaching to anybody else. You preaching to me. You said you're scared, but what are you afraid of?
I am afraid of disappointment. I'm afraid of losing in front of my family, losing in front of my friends. You've got, of course, nowadays, fans have access to you. So losing in front of those fans, millions of fans all around the world, because they will make memes. That's what they do. They're going to do memes of you. And all of that is what scares me. Fear of disappointing my family because I let them down. If I go out there and I don't perform, then my daughter doesn't go to that private school. She might not make it to St. Mark's like you, so all of that fear is what drives me, because honestly, I've got to say the fear of failure to me is greater than the thrill of winning.
Man, I love this dude. Let's talk about how those fans can get to you. And something that did get to you is the Jake Paul Media Madness Tour. When he called you out on Twitter, I know you don't have any fear of these dudes, but what do you think of Jake and Logan Paul and their place in the fight game right now?
I think they definitely were smart to maximize their opportunity. As you see in the last year and in the last 2 years, basically, we got into a position to where we basically went through a global pandemic. People were locked inside the house. They couldn't get out. They couldn't do anything. And with all the hardships that the world was facing, the only thing that they truly wanted is to be entertained, because that's something that could lift their spirits. And here comes the YouTubers. I mean, these guys came in and definitely entertained the masses, entertained the world, even though it wasn't the best form of entertainment. They still gave us something. And so they gained a lot of popularity from it. But the one thing that does get me is entertainment is fine. I completely understand that. Entertain, more power to you. But when you start to disrespect the hard work that myself as an elite athlete, or someone like Floyd Mayweather as an elite athlete has put in to his preparation, that's where, it doesn't sit well with me, and to where I have to go out there. And if I have to, I would discipline.
Oh, God, just one final question. One final question.
That was that YouTube messing with you, too. The YouTubers almost got you off this show.
one final question. If you were to fight Jake Paul, how would it end?
Oh, God.
First round, vicious, brutal KO. I mean, this is the type of KO that there would be memes made of this for a lifetime. So I would say just a brutal, vicious knockout.
Oh, my God. At least carry them for one round so we get our money's worth. Good Lord, Usman. Respect for you, man, so much, and thanks for joining us.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much.
Bro. We'll link off camera, man.
Yeah, we all gonna link. My 23andMe, all of us.
God, not on God. Oh, God. Oh, God. It's just
all God.
That's why we got to link. Oh, God.